Welcome to Casual Wednesday. I don't know where to look. I'm looking all over the place. But this is a show on Fish Tuxedo on YouTube or fishtuxedo.com. I am Mike Feyrer, joined by my good friend Jonathan Downen.
It's me.
That is. And we're going to talk about video games because they're pretty cool. And there's some stuff to talk about. So,
and again, we've played some this week.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that. And none of them were Grand Theft Auto games on an iPhone or an iPad.
No, that is true. Yeah.
So let's get right into it. Why don't you tell me about little tiny indie game by this, I don't know, some unknown studio, Destiny.
Yeah, they recently went independent. They do have a publishing deal though, so that worked out well for them. But first game since they went independent. Of course, we're talking about Bungie.
Yeah.
With Destiny. I've played a lot of Destiny. I am level 20, which is the cap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go beyond that by some crazy like armor stuff, but the regular level cap is 20, so I've played quite a bit of that game. There is an actual game timer in the game. At least on the iOS app, you can see it. You must be able to see it in-game, too, I would think. But weirdly enough, there's lots of stuff in-game that's not in-game, like all the Grimoire stuff where you read about the ridiculous history and like facts about locations and gear and all that stuff.
That's like that's offensively bad, how stupid that is.
And that's kind of prevalent across the whole experience. A lot of dumb stuff in this game. I think I've put maybe 15, 20 hours in. And I totally agree with all the reviews. We're seeing lots of like 6 out of 10s, 3 out of 5s, 70%, like that sort of stuff. I totally agree. I would probably rate it somewhere like 3 out of 5 too.
Yeah.
But I'm really, really enjoying it and I can't stop playing it. And I don't know exactly what that's down to other than just it's real fun to shoot dudes. And I haven't gotten into multiplayer in a big way in any game really since Modern Warfare, the original.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of Crucible stuff in Destiny, and I'm going to be playing it a lot more. I don't know what it is about that gameplay. I always kind of preferred that Halo style, I think, to the Call of Duty style, so maybe that's what's doing it for me. But it's real fun stuff, and they incentivize it with the XP, like the way they put that stuff on the menu, like, hey, if you play this playlist, you're going to get some double XP or extra XP, and you're going to get these kind of points that you can go buy some more gear. It's just really easy to jump into until you hit that button and you have to wait like 2 minutes to load.
Yeah.
Because it takes forever to load anything in that game.
That is one of my biggest frustrations. And it's the same thing that I had an issue with in Grand Theft Auto 5, whereas, like, you know, it's super cool, big, expansive environment and stuff like that. A lot of, like, you know, big open spaces. But then that means you got to wait for dumb loading screens. And then when you want to party up with people, it's so unintuitive. Like, it is horrible. Like, you know, and it's especially bad with the matchmaking when you're playing in the Crucible. And you start up a match and you get in a group. And then the game is fine. You know, I didn't have any hitches there. But then it takes, like, a minute to get into a match, then you get out of a match, and then you're waiting. It's like, do you want to stay in this party or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, fine, stay. And then still match makes the other half. And I'm like, this is bullshit. It takes so long.
I hope you like to watch ships fly in virtual space. I hope you really like that, because you're going to be seeing it a lot.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, funny enough, that is actually one of the coolest parts of this game. And that is maybe that's so not flattering, I'm sure. But that is the one thing that in the loading screens, that sense of just like, I don't know, some weird camaraderie where like a bunch of dudes are just floating around in their spaceships and then all of them fly in at the same time on whatever planet. That's super cool. That is really cool to see. But but the loading screens they're horrible. And like, I just have to say real quick about that Grimoire cards thing, that extra the fact that there are certain things about the game that are in-game bonuses that you can't see unless you use like your iDevice or you're on a web browser. That is just straight up retarded. That is so horrible. Ridiculous. It's so dumb. And you know, it's like, okay, Assassin's Creed 4 had a really cool app that you could go in, you could listen to all your unlocked sea shanties and stuff from your cell phone.
Cool.
You can look at you can set waypoints, you can do all this stuff. And then in Destiny, it's like that, except if all the things you could look at on the iPhone for Assassin's Creed 4 were not available to see on the game itself, on your television. Right. And it's so obnoxious. It's so frustrating. And I don't even...
And
I hope that guy,
using that
whoever
app on
thought
my
of that, gets
iPad,
fired.
but it's not a native iPad thing. I'm running the iPhone version. There is no iPad version. I mean, whatever.
No, really?
But I mean, yeah, and it's more ridiculous because all that lore stuff that you're supposed to go and read up on to figure out about the world and like learn the histories, it's all from this garbage story. Like, it's ridiculous. The whole thing's terrible. Like, the setting is maybe cool. I mean, it could be cool. And the art direction's awesome, but like the wrappings around that stuff is terrible. We were talking about it, like the Peter Dinklage performance, not good. Certainly not good. And I like Peter Dinklage. I think he's awesome.
I really like. He has such a great voice too. He's such a great voice. I would put it down
with the rest of this stuff. It's down to poor direction.
Yeah.
Whoever was directing him, I think, was not doing their job well, and that carries over to a lot of the stuff in this game. Just like decisions that were made are weird. It's like a lot of MMO stuff, but not quite, and a lot of like really hard to understand systems. Like, I'm level 20 now, and I haven't joined a faction, and I still don't know how I would even choose a faction or why. Like, I'd get some better gear, I guess, because that you can get those faction points alongside Crucible points, so you can kind of be getting two different currencies at once, sort of deal. But I don't know, who do I join, and why would I want to join them, and what does that mean?
I think maybe you're just not spending enough time in your Destiny Companion app for iOS devices, because within the application, all of the information that you're looking for is right there.
Yeah, thanks for putting in the game.
Yeah, it's not in a tutorial, that's for sure. It is not, and it's I don't know. It's just riddled with tropes, like story-wise. It's very repetitive, and then there's a lot of MMO buffs that are just like, well, that's MMOs, duh, and it's like, oh, fuck you, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's repetitive. Like, I should just accept that because it's these people like, oh yeah, if you think this story's bad, then you haven't played an MMO. It's like, well, if somebody gives you a shit sandwich and then a shit sandwich with cheese, you shouldn't praise the guy who made the second sandwich just because it tastes slightly better. It is still a shit sandwich. So it's like, that's what it is here, man. There's a lot of good stuff. It's not quite a shit sandwich. There's a lot of good stuff. The game plays really well. It looks awesome. The music is really good.
Amazing. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But you're right, just the wrapping of the game and its lack of, like, its inability to explain anything to you other than its god-awful story is just...
I mean, it's just so surprising. I wouldn't have expected such a weirdly put-together thing to come out of a veteran studio who has tons of cash.
Yeah.
But maybe it's that Hollywood problem where, like, once budgets get so big, you can't help but mess it up. Maybe this is like Transformers syndrome. If you're given like hundreds of millions of dollars, like this has been brought up time and time again. I don't know if in the Destiny context, but like the first Lord of the Rings trilogy, pretty awesome. I don't know if you're a fan, but I'm a pretty huge fan.
Yeah,
and that thing was made, I mean, they had a lot of cash, but they were bootstrapping that thing. Like, a lot of practical effects. I mean, they had to, like, make things work as much as possible. And then you get the second trilogy, the Hobbit movies, and it's just all, like, this ridiculous-looking CG and stuff, because they have these huger budgets, and they're just going nuts.
Yeah.
And it turns out worse. So maybe that's the syndrome here. Like, they just had so many resources, they just kind of threw everything in and like, didn't come together the way they thought it would or something.
Which, like you said, this could be a management issue, you know what I mean? Like, Bungie has been handling these, like, for as big as Halo is, it's not quite as expansive as what they were, the focus of Destiny. So I don't know, like, maybe they just had less time to tell Dinklage to speak up or, like, emote for once. But, I don't know.
But, I mean, we've been super negative on it, and rightfully so. But I'm going to keep playing it, and I really actually like it despite all of these things. It's just a lot of fun, and I want to go back and I'm going to do every mission they have available. I'm going to do a ton more Crucible stuff. Like, there is that carrot on a stick aspect to how they've set up the systems, where I do want to get that stuff, and it does feel rewarding to get that new gear and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I feel that pull, and I'm gonna keep playing. So
Yeah, and I've been saying this, and nobody seems to believe me, but I don't dislike this game. It's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. It is not a bad game. It is aspects of this game are bad for sure, but it is not a bad game by any stretch. It is a really good game by all accounts. It is just the parts that I was looking forward to in particular, like this like big grand story, like this kind of Star Wars-esque. I really like the space wizard kind of thing, because Jedis are basically just space wizards.
Yeah.
So I wanted that kind of thing, and it just, man,
it's just disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of bummed out, even though I'm really enjoying myself. I'm bummed out about it. I've heard on Twitter today, I saw some people talking about, well, maybe this is like the Assassin's Creed thing. Like the first game comes around, they spent so much time building up the infrastructure and the engine and like the bones of it and stuff, and maybe second time around you get Assassin's Creed 2. Like everything, they built a game. Like there's a cool story and characters and stuff. And maybe
Seems to
that's
be a
the
trend.
case. But bummer, man.
With
I hope,
Titanfall
I still have
and
some
Watch
hope
Dogs.
though. Hopefully we can get some awesome new missions in the
Yeah.
coming expansion packs. I'll probably pick those up. I mean, I hope they raise the level cap, all that sort of stuff. And the first raid happened today, and
Yeah.
I have no idea what that's about. Did you see the stats on that thing?
No, I haven't. I think you have to be like level 26 or something, right?
You have to be level 26. It took the fire team, I think it's a 6-man thing, the raiding. It took them 10.5 hours to finish.
Jesus Christ.
And I saw a total of deaths, and it was like 1,300 or 1,600
Wow.
total deaths. During
See,
the
I
thing.
was kind of excited
So,
to get to the cap and raid, but I don't have 10.5 hours.
I mean, it's a really weird setup, and I don't really understand how it works totally. But you can exit out as long as you go back in with the exact same fire team and the same leader. You'll pick up where you left off.
Oh, huh.
So you don't have to do it all in one sitting, but it's still a really crazy thing to make your high-end content. Like, that's for the 0.1%, not even the 1%. Like,
That doesn't sound
it's not
fun.
accessible to 99.9%. Like, who has that kind of time and commitment and gonna be that good to see that stuff? I don't know that I'll ever see that if they don't introduce some stuff that's a bit more accessible to normal people.
Yeah. I didn't even know that. That makes that sound even dumber. Because
It's a dumb thing. It's weird.
I was already considering, I'll get to Cap, play a little bit more of the Crucible. If it doesn't stick, I'm just going to send this back to GameStop and pick up Shadow of Mordor at the end of the month. Just put it towards Shadow of Mordor, because that's a game I'm pretty stoked to play
that
too.
Game. I want to play that game so bad.
And you know what? That's a game that I was so not looking forward to at all for the longest time. And now, after being disappointed by Watch Dogs, being disappointed by Destiny, and the fact that I've played more Sims 4 in the past week than I have Destiny, you know what? I just need a game that I can buy and sit on the TV and then just be like, okay, I don't hate myself for buying this. I don't know. It's like Destiny. I'm really disappointed to hear that about the raids though, and because I have not been playing as much as all the other people on my friends list. So they're all at cap, and I'm at level 10 or whatever. So I've been only playing a couple hours, like 5 or 6 hours maybe. And so now I don't have anybody to party with. So the only really thing I can do is just level up on my own and then get to the end game content. But I'm not going to play end game content that lasts 10 hours. That's insane. Jeez.
There is a weird thing that happens with Destiny, though, that I've been seeing some other people mention, and it certainly happened for me. But that game kind of gets its hooks in you 8 to 10 hours in, right around that level 14, 15 point. You're starting to get some pretty sweet gear. You're starting to be able to customize stuff in a pretty cool way, and the late game content is way better than that old Russia stuff. It's just such a weird. The pacing of that whole thing is so crazy. It's just it's inexplicable how that game turned out. I don't understand it.
It's ridiculous, and just the way the story is strung together, Ghost says, Peter Dinklage bot says, "Hey, dude, there's a thing over there," and you're like, "Oh, cool, better go there."
That's not even a story, man. It's not a story.
You ride your bike, which is pretty cool. You get there, and he's like, "All right, there's the thing. I gotta look at it, but watch out. There's gonna be the wizard or something."
Yeah.
And you gotta watch out for a wizard, and an ogre maybe, and some cool stuff. Yeah, ogre was pretty cool, but you gotta shoot waves of enemies, and then he's like, "All right, we did it. Let's go back to the tower and give that guy the thing." And I'm like, "All right."
On a positive note, I have a positive thing to say.
Yeah.
There are some really awesome epic bosses in that game, though.
Yeah.
Like the boss fights can be pretty amazing. Like especially on the strikes. The strikes are kind of where it's at. You get 2 other dudes in there. It will matchmake, so that's cool. And then some of those boss fights are just nuts. Like staying alive is real tough, and having 3 dudes work with each other and like reviving and like and the waves of enemies they throw at you while you're fighting this big thing, it's just insanity. It's really crazy, and that stuff's real fun.
I played in a public event when I was in the Cosmodrome, when I was just leveling around, and I was doing some bounties or whatever, and that was super cool. The big spider thing just pops up out of the sky or whatever, and it's just like, "Yo, what's up? I'm a spider." And me and a couple of dudes were like, "Yo, we gotta take this thing down, man." And we did it, and that was cool. That was cool, man. But yeah, I don't know. It's
that is the weakest of the boss fights in the whole game.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, that's right in the opening area.
Yeah. But I don't know, like that one especially sucks because it's just sitting there. I mean, it's still kind of fun, but like it's just sitting there. You're just kind of like blasting away at it forever. It's not very mobile. It doesn't move around. Like that's of the boss fights, it's the least dynamic, and it's the first one they have you do. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, that seemed super MMO-y, the way that happened, which is big thing in the middle, shooting at places, like, get him. I don't know, whatever. So anyway, that's Destiny. I think we both like it, but we like the core gameplay, but it's a super big disappointment, and I totally agree. Like, this is not an official review, but I would be in the same camp as you. 3, 7, 3 out of 5, 7 out of 10. That kind of range. I don't know. I had a feeling that this was going to happen, and
I was holding out hope, man. I don't know. I was just hoping, but bummer.
I don't know. Well, other than Destiny, I want to talk real quick about my adventures in The Sims 4.
Yeah, let's hear about your virtual family.
Okay, so The Sims 4. It is a game where you play a voyeuristic god, and you tell them what to do, and you watch through their house like a window. So I decided that I was going to play a family with all the aging turned on, which I never do because I think I'm just not interested in it.
Right.
So I think it was after The Sims The Sims 2 and on. Your Sims would get older. I don't think they did that in The Sims 1, did they?
I don't think so. I think you're right, yeah.
So, so The Sims 2 and forward, your Sims will get older and eventually die. So I decided, because I usually turn that off because I don't like it,
Me
but
too,
this time I decided I'm going to leave it on, and I'm going to start a family, and then I'm going to make this first guy get as rich as possible, and then have kids, then so on and so forth. So, I started up a new guy. Usually I make a dude that looks like me because I'm a really cool looking dude. I always want my guys to look like me. This time I just made a random looking dude. Just hit the dice roll button 5 times on both things. So Messiah Pennington is born. So Messiah Pennington. All right. Yeah, he's a struggling artist. Eventually, he's the top of his game, and he's he's maxed out his artistry skill. He's painting like a crazy man. He's really good at cooking too.
Sounds
and
like
he's
a sweet
making
dude.
tons of money. Yeah, he's making tons of money. He's painting up masterpieces left and right. Meets this chick. She's pretty cool. He marries this chick named Cindy. They have a kid. And his name is Adonis Pennington. Go figure.
Of course.
Messiah and Adonis. Anyway, eventually, they die, and Adonis has left the house, and he expands the house and stuff, and it's pretty badass. He's got 100,000 simoleons in the bank. He knows what to do, man.
Yeah.
He's getting it done. He marries this super hot chick named Fatima, I think is her name. She's a pretty hot hipster lady, Yeah. And he has a kid with her, and what was his name? Oh, Joven. Joven Pennington. But then he realizes that then he finds out that Fatima's a real bitch. She's real mean. And by bitch, I mean she is a mean sim. That is a characteristic of her personality, where she's very mean. And I didn't realize this. Oh, well, let me rephrase that. Adonis did not realize this until one day that we're sitting at home after work, and she was watching the cooking channel, and he sat down, tried to watch with her, and she just decided to berate him out of nowhere because she just gets some sick sadistic pleasure out of it. So what Adonis did was he built a room around Fatima and had her stand there until she died.
That's rough, man.
Well, I didn't have any pools, so I had to make. Well, Adonis didn't have any pools, so we had to make do. We couldn't just pull the.
Any jails, any prisons in the Sims world?
No, and you know what? I'll tell you what. What I actually did, and this is from the Voyeurs to God. I went in and I built a room around her because she was just an unpleasant sim, and I did not. It's actually it's a really frustrating thing about the Sims is that one, you don't know how old they are. So if two Sims get married, your Sim could have just became a young adult. And that Sim could look approximately the same age, but you could marry that Sim and the next day realize that they're actually turning into an elder. Right. Which is extremely frustrating because then they can't have kids. Or something like that. Plus, like, then it looks like you're, like, chasing cougars, Right. And it's really weird. It's just very strange, you know what I mean? And there's not a good indication of, like, a Sim that is slightly too young, like if a Sim is a teenager, you know what I mean? It's difficult to tell, and there's no way to ask like how old is the Sim. You
can't like inspect a character or anything.
It's frustrating. Also, along with that, one thing that does bother me is that when you get married to a Sim, it doesn't give you the option to change either of the Sim's last names. Whereas in The Sims 3, whichever Sim proposed would give their last name to the other Sim. Right. Which I thought was totally cool. That was totally cool, man, woman, woman, man, woman, woman, man. You know what I mean? Whoever proposed, the other one got their last name. I thought that was actually a good way to approach that. In this one, they don't even give you the option. They just keep their last names. But the thing that bothers me is that when the mother has a child, that child takes the mother's last name. Yeah. And what I was trying to do was trying to see how far I could take down this legacy and how much money I could build over a ridiculous amount of time.
So it wasn't Adonis Pennington or whatever.
Well, here's the thing. It really bothered me, so I used the cheat to go into create a Sim full edit mode.
Wow, it really bothered you.
It really bothered me, so when they got married, I would change the one's last name. I just think that's it. And I don't know. I'm a fairly traditional dude. I would be kind of insulted if somebody didn't want my last name if I got married. But but I understand that that's an option that everybody wants to have, and that's totally reasonable.
Of course, yeah.
But it kind of bothers me that in The Sims, and I don't know why that decision was made, that there was just no option. Especially when it comes to the legacy stuff, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so Fatima and eventually died, and now he's with a new hot chick named I think her name is Victoria. I don't know. I haven't played in a couple days. So anyway, so he's living a good life. He had another kid with her. Right on. The horrible thing though is that when I tried to get rid of the one Sim, Fatima, I gave her the crappiest oven in the game and a counter and the crappiest fridge, hoping that it would just burn down the room and then it would be a quick death. Unfortunately, she got so tired so quickly that she just refused to cook her own food. So she wouldn't cook food, but she was also starving, but she was so tired that she refused to cook. And she kept peeing herself and stuff. It was actually a really grisly and disgusting thing that I was doing. And after
As opposed to the mercy killing of burning to death.
Yeah, but it's I felt really bad. I was actually about to remove the room because I felt really horrible after about 15 minutes of just being like, I just wanted this to be over quick. I never wanted any of this. And instead she's just defecating herself. She's so frustrated because she's bored. She keeps passing out and falling asleep. And I'm like, this is not what I wanted. I just wanted to get rid of you. And then I told somebody else about it. They're like, couldn't you just get divorced? And I was like, oh, shit. I didn't think of that.
Right.
Anyway, that was a horrible thing I did. But that's The Sims 4.
Yeah.
Nobody's died of laughter. So.
Yep. Yeah, or emotional distress or something. Yeah.
The Sims 4 is pretty. It's all right. It's all right.
I'll play that at some point.
It's the Destiny of the Sims franchise.
Oh no.
It's okay.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, so Destiny, Sims 4, that's pretty much what we've been playing. And so let's move right on to what's been happening this week. I guess first things first, let's just get this out of the way because we both made videos about it. But Microsoft bought Mojang. Or, more apt, they bought Minecraft.
Yeah. I think you went into it pretty well in your feature. I mean, this is a future investment for Microsoft. They say they laid the ground rules at the announcement, saying, "Hey, we're gonna continue supporting the stuff that's currently out there, including the mobile versions on iOS and Android. This includes also, weirdly, the PlayStation 4 version and PlayStation 3 versions, which is weird because that's Microsoft directly making and publishing and supporting a game on a rival platform.
Yeah, it's
but you touched on it, like they can't really ditch that stuff without really painting themselves in a bad light, and making people feel like they're abandoning the community, which is the whole thing that built Minecraft in the first place.
Exactly.
So that's the last thing they want to do. But I mean, I'm just saying what you said here, but I mean, they don't want to do that, and down the line, they'll probably, little by little, bring more features or special content over to their platforms, and that's going to be the place you're going to want to play, ultimately, probably, anyway, because that's where the best stuff's going to be, quickest updates, all that sort of junk, and you can count on a spin-off or Minecraft 2 to hit Xbox One at some point.
I think so, too. You know, and I said that in the video. I think that they're going to do like Minecraft 2 for Xbox One is going to be like Destiny for the PlayStation 4. It's like, this is the destination. You know, you want this.
I mean, even bigger, man. Like, that's of any exclusive to have. I think in this day and age, that is by far the biggest you could. That's bigger than having Call of Duty exclusive. Like, even if Call of Duty wasn't releasing on PlayStation at all, I think Minecraft would still be a bigger deal.
I think so too, and it'll be interesting. You know, I don't know. I don't know. There's not much to say. It's just it's an interesting move, and I think the more interesting thing that I did not talk about in the video that maybe we could talk about is Notch's response, basically saying that this was just he just wanted out. He was done being public facing, and owning up to the fact that this is extremely contrarian to what he said only a few months ago to the Oculus, being purchased by another large corporation called Facebook. And he was very, very upset and right front and center saying, "This is never coming to the Oculus now." And then, well, a couple months later, bought by the biggest corporation.
Still probably never coming to the Oculus, though.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, but I mean, whatever. You know, it's. I mean, from Notch's point of view, whatever. I think I said it in the video. If $2.5 billion is 0.5% of the total GDP of Sweden.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, he was in a position. He was almost in a no-win position outside of the money stuff.
Yeah.
Just as a figure of that thing, he can't really win. He can't really make his next thing. Like, he had to get out. I totally sympathize. I totally get it, and it's the right move. And he doesn't want to be that huge icon of a thing. He wants to be a human, and he wants to do small stuff and be able to do smaller stuff and just be a member of the development community. I think that's a little bit of a fallacy to think he can do that even now.
Yeah.
But it's all that weight is not on his shoulders. As any little thing that happens with Minecraft, he's getting 1 billion people asking him about it, blaming him for anything and everything to do with it. Like, he did what he did, and I think I don't even see how anything other than a corporation can really be in charge of that thing at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's huge. It's ridiculous how large that is. And to have that team, that tiny team over at Mojang, doing all the work.
I mean, yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week. I'm not pumped that it's Microsoft doing it, but that they had the foresight to see that this is going to be important is somewhat encouraging. And it is cool to see a company with a lot of resources, because Minecraft is going to continue to be Minecraft. That will always be there. unless they completely fuck it up somehow. But probably Minecraft in its current form will be there to go back to.
Yeah.
So it's cool that they have a ton of resources to make a Minecraft 2, because I want to see what that is on a large scale.
I agree. I guess worst comes to worst, Minecraft 2 is a big pile of shit. Minecraft 1 goes to shit, and some other small developer makes a game that is the true successor to Minecraft. And
Sure.
would not surprise me, because everything is so... I don't know. Minecraft has influenced every like such a huge portion of indie gaming, from DayZ and Rust to
everything
to
all that
Fortnite,
survival stuff.
It's crazy. Anyway, so that's Minecraft, $2.5 billion. That's a lot of money. So let's jump right into Super Smash Brothers for the 3DS. Came out in Japan. Sold 1 million copies in its first week, which I think was only 2 days. It was only on sale for 2 days in that week. So
weird. It's like people like and care about Smash Brothers or something.
Imagine that. It's ridiculous. Weird. It's ridiculous to think. That's awesome. That's really good. I can't wait to play that game, but maybe someday I'll play it. And another piece of Super Smash Brothers news that I thought was particularly interesting is that the Ice Climbers is not in Super Smash Brothers for 3DS, as well as for Wii U. And they were removed. Sakurai officially said that they were removed because it just could not happen on the 3DS.
On the 3DS, I mean, I can kind of get it. It's a huge bummer, but I kind of get it, because they've been touting that the 3DS version is 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's supposed to run really, really flawlessly, too, from what I've heard. So
them wanting to stick to that, cool, I guess. I mean, it's unfortunate that they had to sacrifice content for that, and it's doubly unfortunate that because they want to keep parity with the Wii U version, that means they also had to drop it there. But what are you going to do, I guess?
Yeah, I think that's the big bummer, is that that decision has influenced the end product on the Wii U, when there's really no reason for that. But I mean, what are you going to do? That's whatever. Especially because there's no crossplay or anything. It's kind of frustrating to see that happen. Yeah,
that's weird. That is a weird one. But we were pontificating on a potential delay for the Wii U version a couple weeks ago, and the latest rumblings I've heard is late November. I think the 21st or something like that. So that might be still happening this year. Probably is.
Well, from the way that he sounded in that particular interview, actually, it made it seem like if they were to work out the issues that could potentially solve the Ice Climbers, because that the characters were in the game, but if they were to work those issues out, this would be a 2015 release. So that's basically what his logic was, and I think based on that alone, I think you can take from there that the Wii U version will also be 2014. The fact that he said that he was avoiding a 2015 release, so cross my fingers there. I really want to play that game. Game looks awesome.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it for news. And that's about it for Casual Wednesday. Video games.
Those.
Destiny.
Such a bummer, man.
I know.
Unfortunate.
Well,
and I'm going to buy those expansions.
Oh, yeah. You're going to buy them. You're going to play the shit out of them. It's going to be great.
I am.
If you like this video, like us, comment on this video, and tell us how wrong we are about our opinion on Destiny, and subscribe, because you should.
All this stuff makes me want to point places.
I know, I'm pointing.
I always want to point.
I keep thinking, every time I say something and it's directed, I'm like, I should point there, but I know that when I go to edit this video, I'm like, why was I pointing? I'm pointing to the edge of the screen.
I'm pointing the other direction, and then the one time when you get it right, they change the layout of YouTube.
Yeah. So, exactly. But like, comment, and subscribe anyway. You know where the buttons are. Figure it out. I don't have to point for you to figure that out. You're on the internet. You should know this. If you can't find the subscribe, like, or comment button, Google it. Look it up on YouTube.
Google how.
All right. Well, that's enough. See ya.
Yeah.